Good morning. I'm very pleased to join you at this special assembly for Junior 6 to celebrate you moving up to Transitus. Although I'm standing here in St Columbus Church, just looking out across all the rows and rows of empty pews, and so I do feel a little bit sad that you're not able to end your journey at junior school in the way that you would have liked to have done, and we would have liked that for you too. But then again, as that song goes, you should always look on the bright side of life, and thanks to the wonders of video conferencing technology, you can press the mute button at any time. Now that must be an improvement on the more limited options that you had available at previous assemblies. I think you would probably agree with me that this has been quite a challenging time for everyone. The coronavirus pandemic has had such a major impact on people, on societies, on countries all over the world, including here in Scotland. Never in modern history have citizens been asked to stay at home, to curb their travel, and maintain physical distance in order to protect the health of their families, of their friends, colleagues, and neighbours. And here at St Columbus, the pandemic has done what 2 world wars could not do. We've had to close the school for the first time in our 123-year history. Of course, I don't know that for certain. I'm not that old. But our thoughts today are with everyone who's been affected by this terrible crisis, and their families and those close to them. As I'm sure you will agree, we also owe a huge debt of thanks to those who have fulfilled key worker roles in the NHS, in care homes, in shops, and in other critical sectors. We also owe a debt of gratitude to everyone who has helped to look after us and to keep us safe at this difficult time. Now, you don't need to be a professor of anything very complicated to know that the words normal service and global pandemic don't really fit well together in the same sentence. But I do think that what our school has achieved during the last few months has been good. Very good indeed. So I would like to thank Mrs Duncan and all the hard-working and dedicated teachers and staff at junior school, including Mrs Corbett, who's managed our key worker service so well. And a special thanks to Mrs Andrews, who is stepping back from her role at junior school and following you up the road to Transitus. I think she's going to miss you too much. Also thanks to Mr Mackay, who has led all the planning and preparation for returning to school in August, and who we warmly congratulate on his appointment as the new deputy head at junior school. And of course, a very big thanks indeed to our rector, Mrs Riley, for her strong leadership of St Columbus School at this difficult time. But this has also been a time when we've needed the entire school community to pull together, and we thank all of those who have been so supportive. But back to J6, if you're still there. I know from speaking to your teachers and to Mrs Duncan that you've all risen to the challenge over the last few months. You've made the very best of the situation, and you've embraced virtual schooling quite brilliantly. And I have to say, that's 100% the right attitude. So well done, and thank you. What your response tells me is that you're definitely ready to go up to Transitus and ready to make the next big step in your journey in St Columbus and beyond. Now, you've probably heard the words, nothing will ever be the same, being used quite often over the last few months, and I'm sure you will have many more outings in the months ahead. And for families caught up in this terrible pandemic, that's very sadly true. At a broader level though, history tells us that these words might be too sweeping. Things will change, but we live in a world where things always change, so you shouldn't worry about that or about the future. And personally, I think lots of the changes from here will be changes for the better. For example, more emphasis on sustainability, on looking after our climate, and on being more socially responsible. The thing you should always remember is that there's a lot more goodness in this world than badness. And that's why, in the end, good always prevails over bad. no matter how difficult things are. So if you've not pressed the mute button, I just want to say well done again and good luck when you start Transitus in August. And just two more things. First, remember you're part of a team. Your teachers and your families are also part of that team. And second, try to be kind and compassionate and look after each other. And that's it from me. Have a good summer and all the very best.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, children, Mrs. Riley, Mr. Patterson. This morning we are lucky enough to have the chance, despite all of us being at home watching this, to bring this session to a formal end. This is not a prize giving, but a chance to recognise that a year group is leaving the junior school and making their way into the future. It is also a chance for me to say a few thank yous as well as a fond farewell. I do not think I could have asked for greater professionalism or commitment from the staff team this year. The challenges we have faced were nothing compared to the thought of online teaching from Monday 23rd of March with less than a week's notice. But shoulders were put to the wheel and teams were launched and online learning commenced. A great feat by all involved, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of the team for giving their all. I'm also grateful to the amazing staff in the Key Worker Service who have worked tirelessly over the past 3 months to ensure that the children of key workers are looked after and supported whilst their parents perform vitally important roles in the community. To Mrs. Emma Corbett, who has coordinated this service, and to every member of staff involved, a huge thank you. To the admin team, who keep this well-oiled machine of a school running, huge thanks for all you do, and a personal thank you to Mrs. Mercer, who sometimes has to hold me up as well as the school. I'm extremely grateful on a personal level as well for the unending support of Mrs. Jane Andrews and Mr. Alan Mackay, without whom my work life would be quite unmanageable. Mrs. Andrews steps down from her role as deputy head this session, and I will miss enormously her collegiality and friendship on a daily basis. She returns to her happiest place, the classroom, and I'm sure she'll enjoy the challenges ahead with and in Transitus. Mr. Mackay has worked harder than imaginable over the past few months to drive forward the planning work in both junior and senior schools for the return to teaching in the classroom. He has read every document issued by the government, home and abroad, not a small feat at all. He's read research and looked at international models of schooling. And he's done this with good humour, and all whilst teaching his Transitus class. Thank you, Mr. Mackay. He will return full-time to his real home in the junior school from August. And now a farewell to Mrs. Joy Wolfe, who retires from teaching this summer. Mrs. Wolfe, joy by name, joy by nature, leaves a gaping hole in our staff team. A popular and cheerful member of our staff, Mrs. Wolfe will be missed for more than her lovely baking or her fabulous jewellery. She's been the consummate professional who embraces the new and innovative, coming to grips with every new initiative with aplomb. We all wish Mrs. Wolfe a long and happy retirement, although with all her grandchildren it clearly will not be a quiet one. And now to Junior 6, you, this is all about, your final assembly in the junior school. This should have been your final prize giving, and we, your parents and grandparents and guardians, should have been controlling our tears as you sang your final hymn at the end of the ceremony. And we're not here, and the world's not quite right at the moment. It isn't the world we lived in a few months ago. It's the new normal, as we are told by our government. I love the word new. It means that something nice or fun or shiny or special is in our grasp. And this is indeed what you have in your grasp as you move from the world of the junior school to the universe of the senior school and beyond. As the former chair of the Wing of the Peer Appreciation Society, St Andrews University, sometime in the early 1990s, I feel that stories of A.A. Milne provide a huge amount of great advice for us to follow. So I've chosen 6 quotes that, if you keep them close to your 6 and remember them well, will help to guide and shape you in the next 7 years that you will spend at the senior school. Number 1. The things that make me different are the things that make me me, said Pooh. Being who you are is incredibly important, but knowing who you are is even more important. To know who you are is to know your strengths and your weaknesses. It's knowing where you excel and where you fall short, where you can fly and where you need help. It gives you the confidence to stand out for who you are and for what you believe in. Such integrity, such self-knowledge is core to us growing up and becoming adults. You will gradually grow in this knowledge over the coming years, but do not be afraid of being you. Embrace everything about yourself that makes you different. Even if you think you might be a little weird or quirky or nerdy, whatever you enjoy or excel at, these are the very things that make you who you are. You were born to stand out, so why hide the parts of you that make you different? Life is a much better experience. Will I just do that bit again?
Yeah, you just start from the beginning of it.
You're born to stand out, so why hide the parts of you that make you think you aren't acceptable? Life is a much better experience when you embrace the things that make you different. Number 2. You can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes, said Piglet. You've worked out who you are and you're loving being you. Just remember that whilst you're being you, everyone else is being them too. So friendships may change and you will realise that there are many people who have things in common with you. It's important to find the middle ground, the compromise, because that is where friendship always lies. Tigger had to learn this. He was so busy being himself that he forgot there were others to think about. Yes, the wonderful thing about Tiggers is that Tiggers are indeed wonderful things, but so are Eeyores and Piglets and Christopher Robins and Roos and Owls and Poos. The third, special quote. We can't all, and some of us don't. That's all there is to it, said Pooh. All of us are unique and different, and we do not need to follow others like sheep. Not all of us can be the same things. Some of us choose to not be much of anything. The lesson here lies in the fact that we all have a choice to be or to be something or to be not something. We have to accept the choices of others too. But do not settle. Do not follow without really challenging yourself on what you are doing. Make sure you're open to the marvellous world and possibilities ahead of you, and challenge critically your choices to make sure that what you do makes you happy and fulfills you. Do not just do because others are. Go your way if need be, and do so happily and confidently. Number 4. It never hurts to keep looking for sunshine, said Eeyore. Perhaps the gloomiest, but most loved creature in the novels, Eeyore often has a wise word to give. He may be as grey as a threatening storm cloud, but even he knows that sunshine comes, especially after the rain. It's the happy people in our lives who leave the biggest positive impact. They dance through life and we often dance with them. They make us want to follow in their light and inspiration. Be like these people, Junior 6. Take their example and make it your own. Try to live compassionately and considerately, adding light and sunshine into the lives of others, for there, love and laughter will follow. Keep looking for the positives. Keep hunting for the joy. Keep trying to see the best in people. Keep looking for the sunshine. Number 5. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. And whilst you're discovering yourself and growing as a person, adding love and light to the lives of others too, remember that there will be people around you helping you do this. Parents, grandparents, teachers and mentors, they'll all be wanting and willing for you to achieve and do your absolute best in life. They will be there when it goes wrong, and it will go wrong, but you will pick yourself up and start again, and they will hold your hand and support you along the way. It's a long journey and they'll be there for you. They've been there already. You haven't managed to get to the great grand age of 11 without all of the support, love and help of those around you. Remember that they are there. Remember that they do this for you sometimes in spite of whatever else is going on in their lives. Remember to say thank you often, even if it's just in the little things like emptying the dishwasher without being asked, collecting the textbooks in when you realise it needs done, offering to help without being forced, using those 2 words that people when they least expect it. Thank you. 2 words with great power. They keep us grounded. They remind us we are not alone. Number 6. You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think, said Christopher Robin. This final message, this final quote, is the most powerful of all. Your shoulders will grow with the rest of your bodies. They will strengthen along with your limbs. You will be able to hold greater burdens and carry greater weights. You can cope. Whatever comes your way during your 6, you can cope with it. You might need help, but you know how to ask for that, and you know how to say thank you for it. You're not alone. You can conquer any challenge. Turn your mind to it. Keep an open mind, and you can allow yourself to grow in courage, determination, and commitment. All of this will allow you to achieve, to succeed, to win at life. This, Junior 6, is the aspiration we should all have. It will drive us to be the best version of ourselves we possibly can be. And so these are my 6 core messages. Be you, embrace others for who they are, choose wisely, look for the sunshine, be grateful, you've got this. To all the children, staff, parents, families, extended families and community of the Junior School, I wish you all a happy and healthy summer ahead. I cannot wait to see you all again in August, albeit from a social distance as yet to be determined. And so, to the Junior School classes of J6 of 2020, you will be remembered for being Tiggers and Piglets and Owls and Roos and Winnies and Christopher Robins and even a few Eeyores. We will miss you in our 100-acre wild woods of the Junior School. You will not be going far, and we will see you often. And you have a bright, shiny, happy, fun-filled adventure ahead of you, discovering who you are, what you love to do, what makes you feel alive, and how you're going to make that big, positive mark upon the world. My goodness, it's quite an adventure ahead. And in the words of Mr. W. Pooh, I will be closing by sharing this sentiment entirely. How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard.
Mr. Patterson, Mrs. Duncan, parents and staff of St. Columba's School, good morning. And an extra special good morning goes to the pupils of Junior 6. I'm delighted to be with you today to help you celebrate your last day at St. Columba's Junior School. For some of you, this might seem like a very sad day. You are saying goodbye to Miss Bertram and Mrs. Porter, who I know have been outstanding class teachers this year. They have supported you and continued to deliver exciting lessons even during lockdown, and I'm sure that you will miss seeing them every day. Many of your parents have written to me to tell me what a wonderful job Miss Bertram and Mrs. Porter have done, especially during these past 3 months of lockdown, and I would like to start by saying a special thank you to them for everything they have done to keep your learning alive. You are also saying goodbye to Mrs. Duncan and Mr. Mackay and all the staff. I bet you will miss Mrs. Duncan's assemblies, playing in the wild woods, and the smiling, welcoming faces of the classroom assistants and admin staff. But please don't be sad. This is not the end. It is not goodbye. As a languages teacher, I can tell you that this is au revoir, à bientôt, hasta luego, or auf Wiedersehen. These words which say goodbye also mean until I see you again. I hope that you like to read. I love reading, and I know that Mrs. Duncan does too. In the summer holidays, I'm looking forward to finding the time to read for pleasure. A good crime or spy novel is probably my favourite. When my daughters were your age, they loved Harry Potter. In fact, they still do. I always say that they grew up with Harry Potter because they remember when the first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, was published, and we read it to them each night. From then on, J.K. Rowling wrote a new Harry Potter story roughly every 2 years. My daughters would wait excitedly for the publication date, which almost always fell while we were abroad on holiday, and that meant they had to wait even longer. The last few days of the holiday were usually spent speculating about what would happen to Harry in the next book, and their excitement levels rose. I even remember them buying Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, when we landed at Glasgow Airport at the end of a holiday, and then staying up reading all through the night. Of course, we had to pay for 2 copies of the hardback book. There was no question that one of them could have waited patiently until the other one finished reading it, and they certainly wouldn't have waited for the cheaper paperback version to come out some months later. They were so excited about the book that they rushed through it, and then when they got to the end, they were sad, because that was the very last book, the end of the story, the end of Harry Potter, at least until the films started to come out a few years later. If you like reading, you will know that feeling when you're finishing a chapter and you have to put the light out to go to sleep, but you really, really want to carry on reading. Or maybe you're watching a box set of a programme and an episode finishes, and you really want to carry on watching, but you can't. You have to finish because it's bedtime. Well, that's very much like where you guys are today. You're at the end of an episode, the end of a chapter, but not the end of the story. I hope that, like my daughters, when they bought those copies of the Deathly Hallows, you're feeling excited about the next chapter, Transitus. That you're looking forward to my assemblies instead of Mrs. Duncan's, to Mrs. Andrews, Mrs. Hall or Mrs. Smiley instead of Miss Bertram and Mrs. Porter, and the welcoming faces of all the other senior school teachers and staff. I hope you're looking forward to the wide range of subjects, science in the labs, art, technology, computing, French, geography, history, modern studies, music, and so the list goes on. And then there are the clubs, drama, debating, sport, coding, music, and more. We're looking forward to welcoming you, and I hope you're looking forward to it too. And going back to my daughters, do you know what they did when they got to the end of the Deathly Hallows? The end of the story? Well, they went right back to the beginning, back to the Philosopher's Stone, and they read all of the books all over again. They've read them many, many times, to the extent that they almost know the stories off by heart. And in the same way, you will come back to the junior school regularly. You will see your old teachers, either in the junior school or in the senior school. They will still take an interest in you and follow your progress. And that is one of the great strengths of our school. So today, you're not saying goodbye. Just see you again soon. I would like to end on a personal note with a few thank yous. Becoming rector of St. Columba's School has been a great honour and a privilege, and one of my favourite treats has been my visits to the junior school, especially handing out certificates to celebrate your many successes. I am sure you can imagine that there have been a great many challenges during these unpredictable times of the lockdown, and I am indebted to the staff who have supported me. Mrs. Duncan and Mr. Mackay have both taken on additional responsibilities during these past 6 months, and I would like to pay tribute to their hard work, commitment and support, and thank them most sincerely for everything. Mrs. Duncan has shown exceptional leadership, guiding and supporting her staff through setting up and delivering the virtual classroom. Mrs. Corbett has also worked incredibly hard to coordinate the key worker service, and will continue to do so throughout the holidays. The staff of St. Columba's Junior School have been amazing during lockdown, delivering lessons online, whilst in some cases homeschooling their own children and looking after elderly relatives. They have gained new IT skills at an incredible rate and sustained the excellent teaching and pastoral care that we associate with St. Columba's School. The non-teaching team also deserves recognition. Often hidden from the public, Mrs. Telfer has managed the business side of our school with calm, wisdom and dedication, and her team in the tower at Charlotte have worked incredibly hard to help us through a very challenging period. Our admin teams, IT support and janitors all play a crucial part in helping us to be the best that we can be. My thanks also go to the board for placing their trust in me and for their support. But finally, thank you to the pupils of Junior 6 for welcoming me to your events, to your Burn Supper, to the swimming gala in particular, because these junior school events have been some of the highlights of my new job. Thank you also for your hard work and commitment to your online learning during virtual school. I know it hasn't been easy, but you have done really well to keep going with your work every day. Now you can have a well-earned rest, and I wish you all a very happy summer holiday. If you are leaving St Columba's Junior School today, I wish you well and ask you to keep in touch with your friends here. To the rest, I look forward to seeing you at senior school soon and welcoming you to the next chapter, Transitus. Thank you.